Yes, we'll stop there. Public.
Sorry, Nick, first.
Okay, we have Michael Walensky. Okay. Nadine Gazzola.
So I just have a question. I know you guys are voting on the guidance plan tonight. Kind of question, comment. Just reading through like the 7th middle school through high school level, it's the standards, I get all that. The assessment tools, though, it's using a lot of school tools. And I guess I'm just wondering how school tool relates to just one of them. Students will understand the relationship of academics to the world of work. The school tool is like the grading system, right? Or is there something else in there? I know this isn't really a conversation part. So I guess look into that, or maybe there's something else that you can use as an evaluation tool. I know the Naviance program's on there also, which is the career readiness, but school tools listed quite a bit for a lot of the different assessments.
I'll just give a short answer.
Sure.
School tool has expanded greatly.
Okay. Thank you.
Next up, Paul Burfine.
Hi.
Hi, Paul.
Paul Burfine. The question that I have, is the community going to vote on the proposed electric vehicle buses?
By law, they vote on all buses.
So the community then would be put into voting before we could adopt and apply for the grant for these new buses?
No, we've already received word that we're eligible for the rebate.
But as a rebate, that still would be making an almost $4 million purchase. Waiting for the rebate, why wouldn't the community be involved in voting on whether we go forward with that?
The federal government, the EPA, did not consult New York State school districts or the education fund.
But as the board, can't the Taconic Hills board make a decision that this needs to be voted on by the community?
It will be voted on in a bus resolution.
So I didn't quite understand. So this is going to go out to the community to vote on,
Buying buses, yes.
even the electric buses that we're talking about.
Do you have a different interpretation, Sybil?
Now, all of the buses will be voted on by the voters through a proposition, yes.
Okay. No, so my questioning is, I'm not, I was in the military. I ran a division of vehicles and we implemented a lot of new vehicles very similar. They came with the newest and greatest, and this is what we had to have. And I was part of, and what happens a lot of times with the newest and greatest, they fail very quickly because they're unproven. And my fear is that we're going to end up with however many buses that are not proven. I've consulted some of the town highway supers that have done some training. The electric vehicles, for what our needs are, I don't think are going to match. And you can talk to the companies selling them and they will say, oh no, it will definitely do this. It will definitely, no problem. There was a young man that brought a brand new electric truck into Calarusso's this past week with paperwork certifying that it could haul 8,000 pounds for 50 miles, no problem on full charge. They scaled him with 2 ton. He was way under the weight. He made it from Calarusso's to the light in Flaverick, and it couldn't go any further. So they had to bring a wrecker. They had to take the trailer off, and then the truck still had full charge. It could drive home. That's my apprehension on going this route with all this. This is a huge amount of money that I keep hearing people talking about. It's free money. It's still on the back of taxpayers. Even though it's on a federal level, it's still tax dollars that are being used to make this purchase. And if it goes through as a grant or as a rebate, providing we do actually get the rebate. There's no, from what I've seen working with the government or,
I hate to interrupt
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
but everybody gets 3 minutes, so sorry.
thank you for your time. I appreciate
you.
you all very much.
Thank you. Mr. Malinsky here. Okay. Please. Okay, I need a motion for the acceptance of the agenda. Can I have a motion, please? Alicia, Kevin, second. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. I need a motion for the acceptance of the consensus agenda. Can I have a motion, please? Ron, second. Molly. Any questions? Look that over. We do have one retirement. Audrey Hollenbeck. God bless her. Wish her well. She's gonna be sorely missed. And Kathy Kaiser, the registered nurse. I'm sorry, I saw I saw the yellow because it was highlighted, so, all right. And Kathy, yes. How many years was Kathy here? Yeah, she's been here a long time. 24? Wow. Good luck to her as well. Any other questions on any of the? I wanted to know what a special education transition coordinator was.
So I could take that. So a special education transition coordinator helps, especially seniors, but helps anyone in the high school who's transitioning from Taconic Hills into either a work environment or college or the next step after high school. So what the transition coordinator does is make sure that those students who are in 11th and 12th grade have access to what's known as Access VR, which is a state program that gives them with lots of opportunities for kids who have IEPs. And so they get a vocational counselor that's attached to them, and they help them. One of the simplest things, not simplest, but one of the most interesting things is if a kid does not have their license and they're connected to Access VR as a state program will pay for them to take a driving course, how to learn how to drive, and they will also pay for them to get their permit and license. So they work with them in order for them to have job skills that are necessary for after high school. And then we're kind of looking at how we can change the transition coordinator a little bit and sort of have that job reach not just high school kids, but also middle school kids to talk about careers and what they want to do in the future. This transition needs to be part of the IEP starting around the age of 12 or 13. Awesome.
Any other questions on anything? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. All right, next up, we have the presentation for budget workshop.
Okay, want me to go first? All right, okay. So, I've updated a couple of the sections here. Turn lights. Now that we are. All right, so that's not what I go for now. Okay, so I just want to bring to everyone's attention that this is for the September 23rd, 24 school year. Next year projections of enrollment, and those are carried out for a few years here to see possibly where the trend is. This is an analysis that we do all the time and every year, and you can see years past going all the way back to 13-14, where we had 1,420 kids, and next year we're slated just to have over 1,000. So we continue to lose about 3% of our population each year, and we're waiting to see if we have a COVID bump. I would like to say that pre-K numbers right now are at 50 with on the census, and 42 of those families or individuals have filled out the forms. We still have a few of them out there waiting to be filled out. That's on the census. I think we do have all the forms in for the 56 kids in pre-K. I'll talk a little bit about that on the next page here. These are updated with today's numbers as well. We have current sections of kids and averages and next year's potential. I had to make a correction over here, 5th grade, and updated these with numbers and averages. So you do see here kindergarten at 18.7. So a few more kids. This is a tipping point for another section of kindergarten. But it does look like we could be losing a few of our term individuals, which have been paid for with the COVID monies. But we do have a couple of retirements occurring, and so we're evaluating those positions currently. Looking at signups for classes in secondary, and of course, the scheduling has a lot to do with that. We have changed the scheduling to the 9 period day from our block scheduling, and still looking at how to be efficient in the elementary. Some of it could be. I'm not sure all of it will be. You always want to lose staff by attrition. You don't want to give somebody a job and then a year later tell them that they're, that because of enrollment, you don't have a job. And then you're going to get into unemployment benefits, which is a cost to the district. Not a big cost, but still a cost. But if someone's going to take a chance of moving here or buying property in the area, you don't want to let them go in a year. You want to make sure you hire somebody, you're investing in them with professional development. And so, yes, you don't want to lay somebody off. Never want to do that. If you can avoid it. Any questions?
I noticed though, we did last month, it was a 4.0, so it went down 1, so that's something.
Yeah, as we get more information, we'll continue to update it and still reporting what we're thinking and why. All right, so
Let's take a look at payroll and benefits. So, as Neil said, we're taking a really close look at staffing. We did an analysis of current levels of staffing this year and current numbers of kids. And so you've got a specific number of kids moving from the elementary school in 6th grade to the junior high school. The outgoing senior class is about the same size as the senior class. There isn't a whole lot of change there. But you have to remember that this is a budget to budget view of what the numbers look like at this point in time. So we had an awful lot of staffing changes from last year to this year. So in March of last year, we were budgeting for some very different circumstances than we are budgeting for this year. So I just want to point that out. There's almost a little asterisk there. But Ashley and I have been working on this document together, and I'll just point out a few things going down the list, and these are on the website, and we'll continue to update them in real time. Health insurance is projected to increase 12% at this time. Prescription drugs 13%. I should have official numbers, not next week, the following week. Still don't have an increase on dental insurance, so she's just looking at moving everybody from the same plan that they're in, but just increasing their costs proportionately. Right now, we're not looking to increase our unemployment insurance numbers. Workers' compensation is down, and that is primarily because the consortium did an audit on our financial status, and they realized that there was a surplus balance. And so what they did is gave back each district a piece of that surplus balance towards our bill for next year. So that was about $30,000 for us. That's positive. Teachers' retirement, that is projected to be 9.76% of payroll. That number is down from 10.29% this year, whereas in ERS employees retirement system. So this is the retirement system for all non-instructional staff. That's 13.10% for next year, and that's up from this year at 11.6%. So our social security number here is based on this salary number. And again, this is just a snapshot of a point in time. We're not finished. We're still conducting this analysis. Lisa's getting started building a master schedule. All of the high school students have selected their classes for next year, but sometimes all of those selections don't work out. So she's going to build a schedule. We're going to try to run those numbers and then look at section load reports of how big those classes are at the secondary to make those decisions. And at the top, this represents all of our active employees. And then down here, Ashley breaks out the cost of the benefits for our retirees. So as you can see, and I don't know if you can scroll down a little bit so we can still see both. But we do, as we've been saying for the last several years, we do now insure more retired individuals than we do active employees. Hit that tipping point a few years ago. And the three-part budget process does require that we break out active and retiree benefits. So again, this is just a snapshot, still very fluid. Within probably about the next 2 weeks. Any questions on that? Okay. Let's take a look at special education. That's section 3A. So Henry's office has been working very hard on this. As you recall from prior years, we really at this stage only see the cover sheet of this document, but behind this, there are several documents that go into detail about student programming that has student names and related services and frequency of services, the extent of contractual services that are required. So the big changes that you'll see here are in the contractual code, a decrease of about $300,000. And that's primarily because this year we were budgeting for a potential high-cost residential placement that would have had us incur what are called maintenance fees. So we have a student in a residential placement, you pay almost their room and board, right? And so that would be in that code. And then generally we fluctuate between private school tuition and our BOCES tuition, our Questar-based placements. So that's not uncommon. Might have students come out of private placements, maybe a program change, moving into a Questar program or vice versa. But though that is also still fluid at this time. We have, I think, 4 or 5 kids not quite sure about, but we have placeholders in there. We're in good shape. And then we are projecting an increase in materials and supplies for testing materials for the school psychologists. And then in the next document, we'll look at the BOCES. That's all for this one. We'll look at the BOCES costs next. You can go back out. I did print that one. You have it in front of you because it is kind of small. Section 9. Everywhere that you see a yellow cell, that is a number that I don't have yet from Questar or that hasn't been completely calculated or planned out. That's just really a placeholder for me. And so we group these services into categories based on how they are purchased for the district. You'll see here in white for next year, we have the employee assistance program. You'll be voting on that tonight. We discussed that last month. We'll actually be starting that as of April 1st. So it'll be a small charge to us this year, but that represents the cost for next year. So it's, have it at budget time last year. Everything in blue represents all of the services that we purchase from Merrick, which is the Capital Region BOCES. And in general, you see this administrative fee here. All of these services, we then pay about a 4 to 5.75 to 6%, it varies, fee on top of that. A lot of these are the major programs that we use. The portion of BOCES rent and admin that we pay as a component school district. We vote on this budget in April, on the BOCES budget in April. That's our piece. The projection. Mostly staff development here in this section. And then these are some school-based services in the pink. We do project that we'll have about 3 students attend the Bard Early College program. Just got that cost the other day. And we do project that we will have 1 student in the ALP program, but that cost has not been built yet. The TASK program is the old version of the GEP. Don't currently have anyone slated for that. Everything in green connects back to the document we just looked at for special education. All of the programs in green represent programs that students with disabilities attend off campus and those costs. Related services, this number here, 21, this is hours. So we're talking about services like counseling, whether it's individual or group counseling, speech therapy, PT, OT, services like that. The extended year program is summer school for students with disabilities. And here in the white, remember the cost of career and technical education programs through Quest for Our Creative programs are based on a 5-year rolling average. So the oldest year falls off. The previous year comes on. So based on a 5-year average, we have about 44.8 students attending CTE programs in Quest for Our Creative. That includes Tech Valley High School and also New Visions as well. That was rolled into the 5-year average. So that is a cost that is just given to us. It's not really a per student cost. Our share of the whole cost based on the number of students that attend. Last meeting, we looked at the technology budget, and we talked about how a lot of those programs might be moving to BOCES costs. That those costs will may end up, some of them here in the online databases and software. That's why that's yellow. Still haven't gotten that quote yet. Castle Learning is another one that may come over here. Distance learning, this is the cost of our internet access, as well as the distance learning program. And you'll see that that is reduced by about $34,000. And that's because this year we budgeted to completely replace all of the equipment in the room. That was done over the last break. That's in good shape, right, John? So pull that out for next year. These are all of the equipment purchases that IT is looking to make. You get 36% back in aid the following year on those purchases. And then we also do our Xerox pieces through Quest for Our Well and receive BOCES aid. So we'll get that finished up in the next couple of weeks as well. Anybody have any questions?
I want to see that it's down.
Right now,
Goodness,
right now,
right now.
for this week.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And we have a superintendent report.
So I really don't have a lot to report. We're getting some better weather. Kids are outside participating in a lot of sports and events and those seasons. I will say that a all-weather baseball and softball field would have really helped the past couple of weeks with the ground. And but as it is, we have track, baseball, and softball on the feature field. So there's lots of things flying around. And you know, at some point in the near future, maybe we could get a point where we'd like to put that up for vote again. Thank you.
Thank you. Audit committee, Joe?
Yeah, we met just before the meeting, kind of helped out that we were delayed because of the weather, because we got our reports in, from the federal government. Audit committee met to discuss the single audit. There were no financial findings. There are some, documentation issues to be corrected in the Title I program and in the food service department before the decision. They never give Pam a break. They always gotta look at it's only food.
Responsible for the rising level of cost of food. I weigh that on my shoulders there.
Thank you, Joe.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Board of Education member activity, has anyone got any activities to report?
Yes, I was the mystery reader. earlier this month.
You were?
Yes, the elementary, we read The Wicked Big Toddler. It was Mrs. Howard's first grade.
What
class.
grade?
First grade. And then
Oh,
I could take up permanent residency. I was
well, that's
wonderful. They
awesome.
were fantastic.
Anyone else? All right, well, I went to the 8th grade science fair. It was really, some of those projects were really amazing. I couldn't make the 7th grade one, so I'm sorry about that, but very good. And, Success Fest meeting, we're still meeting with that. So that's, April 22nd. So make sure you put that on your calendars to, hopefully you'll do a workshop. I went to the NHS, ceremony for the new inductees. It was wonderful. The thing that I liked the most was, you know, they write up a little something about the new inductees coming in. It was really cool. Samantha, she did a great job as well. I went to staff development day, they gave the survey results of that program that we voted on buying last year for that Grant Chandler came here, so he reported out some of the results. I'll share them with you at another time. And went to the liaison committee with Molly. There is one thing that I do want to talk about. You know, I know mostly everybody here knows we're looking for a new superintendent because Neil's retiring in June. So I just kind of want to give you an update as to where we are. We've appointed Questar BOCES to help us in that process of looking for a new superintendent. Our goal is to have a new superintendent by July 2023. That's our goal. Prior to tonight's board meeting, we met with Questar to review the results of our superintendent survey. The results are up on our website now, so if anyone wants, feel free to look them up if you're interested. On behalf of our board, I want to thank our community for taking the time to complete our survey. A total of 564 individuals responded to our online survey, which was absolutely amazing, so thank you for that. Your feedback was used to help finalize our brochure. We also plan to use questions provided by the community during our interviews. Our position will be advertised statewide and nationally on OLAS, Association of Educational Service Agencies, and New York State Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents, starting what was on Friday. Information will also be shared through Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Questar 3 District Superintendent Gladys Cruz's Facebook's through all of her contacts, actually. And she will also send emails through BOCES and superintendent listservs across the state. The deadline for applications is April 16th. We will meet again with Questar on April 20th to review applications. So right now we are trying to assemble a stakeholders group that we want participation from all stakeholders in our community, school and outside of the community. So Questar is recommending a certain number. I'm thinking that number is gonna be a little higher, but you know, I know there's been some people that have had some interest and, you know, we're gonna talk about that tonight in executive session as to who our committee's going to be. If you don't get chosen, please don't feel offended. It's just that we're trying to pick people from every aspect of our community, so. Okay, that's all I got on that. Anybody else? Then we have the building, have pre-K. Oh, I'm reading Mary, sorry, she's not here. This is from Mary, because they're at the, concert down there in the art show. Last night was the grades 3 and 4 concert and art show. The place was packed and the students did a fantastic job of singing, signing, and playing drums and ukuleles. Thanks to our music and art departments for all of their hard work. Tonight is the makeup date for grades 1, 2 concert and art show. Students have been practicing all week and sound wonderful. I can only imagine. They probably are so cute. March mystery readers, thank you to all the people from within the district who participated in reading to our students. Read Across America, students pre-K through 6 are helping to drive the library RV across the country by reading books. The RV is currently in California. Mary and Darby have met with all grade levels reviewing NWEA scores along with other data points, including state assessment scores, as well as individual teacher assessment. Conversations regarding this information are ongoing and will help plan for next year. That's Mary's report. Next up, we have the high school, Lisa Cardillo.
So this month is Music in Our Schools month, and so we started off with our junior high students had alternate, which was in Hudson. And then next Friday, our select choir is actually going to perform at the Capitol. And so they found out, Sam, was it this week? They just found out that they are going to team up with a school from Long Island. So they did a Google Meet with that school from Long Island so they could kind of practice some of their music together. So that's kind of an exciting thing. We have the 2 science fairs, so 7th and 8th grade science fairs. We've had a lot of parents come in the building, which is really nice to see that they were coming in to see the students' projects. We actually, Monday, kicked off the NCBI program, so the National Coalition Building Institute program. I had a couple of students come to me about a week before it started to say, hey, this sounds like it could be good for high school kids too. Originally, we were just going to do middle school, and so we actually chose 7 high school kids, grades 9 through 11, who represent some good character, good leadership, and they really ran with it. They sat through the entire presentation for those 2 days, and what I've seen come out of it already, there's this one student who doesn't have a ton of relationships at school. So today I found her having lunch in Miller's classroom with a whole bunch of other kids, and she had never met Ms. Miller until Monday. And so then there's another young 8th grade student who has struggled in school, and he came up and said, thank you, Mrs. Cardillo, for giving me a chance. And so it's good to see some of those positive things. The high school kids really have some good ideas of what they want to do as student leaders in terms of having some things that they want to run. So they've got some good ideas, and the staff loved it. Next week on the 30th, we have our junior parent night. So our 2 school counselors are going to run that. They're going to start talking about the college application process. They're going to talk about scholarships, things that parents can do the summer between their junior and senior year, looking at all of those different things. We're going to provide a Zoom link for that as well. To tag along with that, we have 2 people that are working on the college and career fair, which is going to be on June 2nd. So they have their letters ready to go. Get people here in terms of different schools and different work environments. We have our first Tech Thursday night is tomorrow. So that's going to be at the Rodan Library. So we've got some staff members. Hutchinson is going to lead, just introducing the families to some of the technology. So some of the school tools, some of the programs.
Yeah, we're gonna do the, we're gonna show the parents how to best access, school tool, Google Classroom, and some of the instructional programs that we use in classes, K-12. We'll also have Battle Strat on hand with John, making it to that.
Okay.
John's on the call. And in case parents have trouble logging in, we can get them taken care of right then.
Compressor, John.
This is not the first time.
And then Darby, we've been doing a lot of the Tableau reports to talk to teachers about Regis item analysis to help them figure out what standards they were a little bit lower on last year, so how they can help guide their review and performance for this year. So that's been a really beneficial program that we've gotten a lot out of. And I think, oh, and then at each of your spots, I did put our third quarter newsletter. So just a general update of what's going on in the school, with the different content areas.
I love this, so thank you. I hope you keep doing this. This kind of like. A lot of us aren't in the school. But it's nice to know what the kids are doing in the teachers. So thank you for that. Okay, next up we have Sandra.
Well, good evening. As Bonnie indicated, we had our staff development day, the last one of the year, March 17th. I think it went very well. We had people everywhere, including throughout the cluster region. So some of our teachers were able to go meet with colleagues at other school districts and learn a little bit about how Southern runs programs. We hosted the ed teachers here, and Farmont Foundation was also part of that. So they presented, and it really was a good positive experience in that. Grant gave the session for us on the survey, as well as bringing us back to how we started the year, the formative side and empathy. So today, Sybil and Neil and I met together with ASCD to look at next steps. And also feel clear that they're doing a little bit more about talking to board with grants. So at some point you will hear about that. So that work is going well. That, as Bonnie said, Success Fest is coming along. Really, at this point, I think our biggest worry is to get the word out there and have community members attend. So any help you can give us with that would be greatly. Another exciting thing, some of you will remember, we had a during academic excellence and advocacy committee several years ago. And they did a lot of work that supported the board's work with policy, like how they raised things out. And we have initiated that back, how that COVID is through. But we're doing it by Zoom, and I think that might help parents that want to attend. So again, that meeting is scheduled next time for April 17th. We look at what other issues we feel we need to look at in school. Feedback and help us make better decisions. That's it. We need some of that feedback.
That'll be a Zoom as well.
Yes.
Can you just make sure I get it in?
Yes. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Cool. Henry.
So,
Hi.
I woke up in the month of March and I realized that I needed to rip off Lisa Cardillo. One of the things that I did is that I asked our social workers, school psychologists, special education teachers, and everybody to give me what was going on in March. So what you see is kind of broken down into social workers, elementary, middle school, and high school, and things that are going on in the PPS department and also in their classrooms. I just wanted to highlight a few of the exciting things that are going on in special education and with 504 students and with social workers. The first thing up top on the second page, in the back of the first page, are the current CSC numbers as of today. So what you'll see, and I won't read all of them, remember in the presentation we talked about classifications. So those are the number of students and the classification. So that we have a total of, we have a total of 136 students with IEPs, and that's broken down into the classification. CPSC is our preschool. It's a preschool IEP, typically what we call. So it's for preschool age children who haven't really started to do that. In referrals, as of February 15th, there are 14 CSE referrals, four 504 referrals, and 4 CPSE referrals, which means that these are new referrals made by either parents or the RTI process or by teachers, and these students will be evaluated to see their eligibility to receive an IEP or a 504. So we're moving full steam ahead with our transition to frontline and IEP direct, and at the Superintendent's Conference Fair on the 15th, the whole PPS department received an overview of frontline IEP direct to kick off training for full implementation at the beginning of the 2023-2024 school year. One of the things too, every year districts are chosen to give surveys, and this year we're chosen to give the Indicator 8 survey, and that asks parents after each interview meeting to talk about and fill out a survey about parental involvement, how parents are involved in the IEP process, but also in the IEP meetings. Did some numbers a couple of days ago, and with the interviews that we've conducted so far, we haven't conducted many, but enough. About 67% of those interviews were attended by families. To me, that's a very low number, so we're going to work very hard to ensure that families are part of their child's IEP process. In the elementary school, Miss Barrett's self-contained classroom received a letter from Moorhead, North Carolina, which invited them to do what was called the Great Mail Race. So what those kids in that classroom did is they chose a school in each 50 states, so they took 50 schools. They sent them, picked a school, sent out the address, sent that to a particular class, a class that was kind of similar to theirs, sent them a letter, and is waiting back for their responses. And the survey is pretty cute. It asks questions like, what is collectively your favorite color? But it also asks them about the town that they live in. So they're learning about states, not just states and capitals, but actually the people that live in those states and what makes those states unique. So that's a program that Ms. Barrett's 4 through 6 self-contained classroom is involved in. Another exciting thing in the middle school is that the 7th and 8th grade self-contained is beginning their weekly field trips to High and Mighty Animal Rescue, which is really interesting to see that the special education students are actually interacting with the animals at the rescue. And even the kids that you would think that would not make that connection always come back and they find that this is the best experience that they ever had, and they really make a connection with animals. And we're hoping to expand that into Ms. Croker's life skills alternative assessment high school classroom next year. In the high school, students are working on developing their career plan, but also something very exciting. A special education student won a gold medal at Skills USA competition. This was a student in the carpentry assistant basic competition, and this senior won first place at a gold medal, so that's pretty commendable.
That's awesome.
And the alternative assessment continues to enjoy art with the traveling art teacher from CATA organization, which is an art therapy organization in Great Barrington, and a grant from the Berkshire CATA Foundation is the one that funded those classes. And they're comparing prices and learning to shop for the best value through going out into the community and shopping, putting a menu together, learning how to cook, follow a recipe. So that's our alternative assessment and life skills group. So there's a lot going on there. And lastly, with our social workers and school psychologists, is that they're still adding to their care closet. I don't know if you've heard of the care closet before, but the social workers really took it upon themselves to ask for donations. So we have donations of clothes and shoes for those kids who either come to school and they lack a jacket, or they come to school and their pants ripped, or they need a pair of pants, or they need clothes to sustain themselves because they couldn't afford more than 1 or 2 pairs of pants and shirts. So they can go to the care closet, no questions asked, pick their size, and there's clothes available for them to take home. With
I've
no
seen
shame.
that room actually, it's really cool.
And
It's
it
very nice.
expands. We actually, they actually had to put out an email saying that they can't take certain donations because they have so much. It's a nice thing to know that there's that resource here. In line with that, part of the responsibility of the PPS department is to do with our McKinney Bento or our homeless families. And so we took some of our money from last year and we created care packages, which included personal care items, t-shirts, underwear, things that you wouldn't normally think that families would want, and created care bags, and those will be distributed by our home visitors. So we have people in the social work department who do home visits throughout the month. And so they created an area going to distribute those bags. We got canvas bags. They can also get their bang for the buck by using the canvas bags that use it when they go grocery shopping. And that's for each child in a family. So some families receive 4 or 5 different bags. There's certainly a lot more in here. If you just want to take a look.
No, this is great. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
So with spring sports on us, it is a busy time of the year. My folks have been very busy trying to get all the hurdles out, the long jump pits opened up, tennis nets are out, softball batting cages are on. The baseball field and the softball field are still a little bit wet, but there's one thing that I've learned in all my years here: the faster we get them outside, the fewer number of windows that get broken. So I'm hoping to get them outside soon. So that's what's going on outside as far as inside and things around the building. My folks have been working on the community bus, and we're looking forward to getting that done and getting it ready to go into service.
For those of us that went to the community bus, amazing, right? Those guys did a great job. Happy show? Nothing new? All right. Pam? You want John first? Oh, I skipped.
Good, no, that's all right, go ahead.
Okay. Poor John. I know. Getting balled up tonight.
Okay.
Those are the sandwiches that would be served on our soup and salad bar, or a salad sandwich bar, made to order. So the students come through and they tell the servers what they want on their sandwiches, and servers go for them. So now we're anxiously awaiting the budget of Norfolk to approve free, universal free breakfast and lunch for everybody. This is our last year in the CEP program. It's a 4-year cycle, and I do have to apply for that again. I think we'd get it, but if she approves the budget, that would be wonderful for everybody. Okay, that's it.
Thanks. All right, John, you're up.
Thank you. And I guess I'm just gonna say, I really don't have anything to say, so. Any questions? I'll be glad to answer them for support people, so. Yes.
I'm good, thanks.
The student liaison report, Samantha.
So, moving 30 to 40. Try to put the word out there because the chorus field trip, actually I have one add on to that. So I was in Miss Miller's room today when we were on the meet, and the school that they're meeting with and singing with, the teacher, Miss Miller, went to college with.
Really?
So they have, yeah, they have like, it's a middle school, so 7th and 8th grade band that's singing, or that's playing while Alan Choir sings. That's what most students.
I think I'm gonna try to go with that.
Yes.
Friday.
Yeah. And then, the senior class is going on Monday for a play. Another one, we went to one months ago. It was good. But yeah, go ahead.
Going to Philly, right?
Yep, Philly, New Jersey, yeah.
Very nice. Thank you, Samantha. Okay, we have no old business at this time. New business, we have a few field trips to approve. So, the first one is the U.S. History and Government, is going to Ellis Island. Can I have a motion, please? Ron, second. Kevin? Any questions? All in favor? And next trip, we have the senior class trip to Philly, Six Flags, New Jersey. Can I have a motion, please? Molly, second. Joe? Any questions? All in favor? Next up is the junior prom at the Catamount Resort. Motion, please. Joe? Kevin? Any questions? All in favor? We have the pre-K class trip to the Hancock Shaker Village in Pittsfield. Motion, please. Kevin, second. Terry, any questions? All in favor? So we got the district calendar in front of you. That's one of the reasons that Molly and I met with the liaison committee, was to finalize the calendar. So I need a motion for approval of that. Motion, Kevin, second. Joe, any questions? All in favor? Now we have approval. I need a motion for the approval of the district guidance plan. Motion, please. Molly, second. Kevin, any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Next, we have the tax cert reserve account. The County Hills Board of Education hereby amends the 2021-2022 tax cert reserve account to a new total $10,005.01, returning the balance of $7,451.91, including any applicable interest to the general fund in accordance with education law. Motion, please. Ron, second. Kevin, any questions? All in favor? Next up, the approval of the section 2 merger between Hawthorne Valley School and the Conic Hill Central School for the fall boys and girls volleyball program. Motion. Kevin, second, Alicia, any questions?
Pretty well for them.
Yes,
No, kind of go. Homework and chart. Wait a minute. Good.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, we have a memorandum of agreement. Be it resolved, the Board of Education hereby approves the agreement between the Conic Hill Central School District and all of our bargaining units providing employee assistance plans to all eligible employees effective April 1st, 2023. Motion, please. Molly, second. Kevin. Any questions on that? All in favor? All right, so we have Conic Hills Faculty Association Memorandum of Agreement. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of Conic Hills Central School District approves the agreement by and between the district and the Conic Hills Faculty Association dated March 22nd, 2023, in regard to employee number 1535. Motion, please. Kevin, second. Molly? Any questions? All in favor? You? All right, so Superintendent of School recommends to the Board of Education to adopt the following textbook, advanced textbook. Can I have a motion, please? Harry, second. Kevin? Any questions? All in favor? All right, we're going to surplus vehicle number 29, 2019 Traverse. Motion, please. Kevin, second. Terry, any questions? All in favor? Anyone for a second public forum?
So Michael came in.
Okay.
Oh, did I write down the wrong one?
Well, no, you weren't here for the first one, so.
Well, I heard you say you can only imagine how the elementary kids sounded, but you don't have to imagine it because we were actually there with the AV club filming it tonight. That's why I was late, and we filmed it yesterday as well. So it's only been 6 short weeks since you guys have given me permission to start the club. We grew from 1 kid in the first meeting to almost 20 already. In that time, we recorded the basketball fundraiser, a junior high dance, the winter sports awards, and then both the first and second grade music show, and then the 3rd and 4th grade show. We do need more support. I'm not here asking for any money yet, but I did come armed with my secretary here and my resident animator champion. And I think we have a really good club. We have a lot of camaraderie. We even put together a dodgeball team that competed as a group, and it's something not a lot of the other kids have. But right now we feel like kind of like orphans. We don't have a real room to call ourselves a place to call home. Right now we're using the Veterans Community Room, which I had asked for because I'm a military veteran and that was my field of expertise, being a photographer. But the kids, we come there every day. It's made a mess sometimes. Some of the other kids eat in there and they don't respect it. But we really need a place to call home, and we do need more workstations because right now we have one main computer that Mr. Goddard put together for us, and he souped it up as best he could, and it's just not enough to run the programs that these kids use because it's not like word processing, like the business machines that everybody uses. We're running 4K video, and I mean, and Tristan can attest to it, when they start it up, it literally it'll shut down and restart in the middle of editing a project before they can get forward. So I've been taking my workstations from my studio and carrying this big giant case in and letting them use my stuff in the meantime.
So President, can I address something?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Malinsky, the best way to go about this is to talk to the principals and to have discussions with them on what you need. And then the principals will bring it forward, and then we will make some decisions based upon that.
Okay, well, then that just comes me to my last point then, is that I feel like there's not an email culture. Like I send out emails and they fall on blind eyes. Like I don't get responses. I'll CC people and I'll send things out and just like nothing happens. I've had teachers come to me and thank me for the work I've been doing, and they have their kids here and they appreciate everything I've done. And then when I say, okay, I need a classroom, I'll have a teacher come out and say, oh, my classroom is vacant. So then I send it out to everybody on my list and then I get crickets. So I don't know if it's just a
Well, there's
culture in the school.
procedures, there's, we have a chain of command, we have certain, protocol for clubs. I mean, there's all, and if you talk with the principals, I'm sure they would guide you in, what's the best way for you to, I mean,
It's the same way in the military.
yeah.
No, I understand, but even if I do send it out to like the wrong person, instead of saying, don't talk to me, talk to this person, I get nothing. So I don't even know the protocols to go to. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Okay.
There is no
Let's
communication.
get a hold of the principals.
Okay.
That's your first step.
Sure.
Okay? What I will say positively is that you were engaging many kids, you have 20 in your group, so I really appreciate that. I think that's wonderful. Engaging any child in anything is great, so thank you for that.
Appreciate it. You're all for it.
Thank you.
Just so we're clear on some things, we need to know when you're sending up drones too.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay. We have additional items to discuss, so I'm gonna defer to Terry right now because we've been every month because of one thing or another, we keep.
I didn't know we were gonna do this, okay,
Have your stuff?
I have.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
We keep pushing Terry's legislative committee, keeps getting put on the back burner because of, board meetings getting canceled or whatever, so, she's just gonna report to
I
us.
was just gonna give a very, very brief report. I think you had mentioned before, the budget is due April 1st. So that's really what our legislators are focusing on for right now. They had a very interesting, workshop, and this was in December. And one of the things that I think is important, to discuss or just to make aware of, that a lot of things were left out of the budget that NISBA thought should be put in the budget for this year. And you had mentioned before about the pre-K, the funding for the school lunches for the kids, and they did leave that out of the budget. So I'm not sure exactly where, they're going with that. We'll find out in the next couple of weeks what is going on with that. The one thing that I thought was very interesting, and the gentleman in the very beginning had mentioned, was about the electric school buses. And there's been a lot of feedback, a lot of people, including NISBA representation, to try to see if they can't, because there's so much confusion about this. And people do have the information that you mentioned before, safety issues and, just efficiency of the school buses. And that was a discussion at the end of the conference, but they are trying to figure out some of the details of that. But there has been a lot of, flack against it, just so that, people are working on that.
For me, it's just because they have a deadline of a certain date, but we don't even ask our taxpayers until another date. So it's like, everything's just so not in order.
There is, I had sent out the link to the rest of the board, but for the community and for, people to express their opinions about the budget process. And, it was just I would find it, I don't know if anybody else did, but I did talk about the electric buses to the governor, and put that in there. A lot of money seems to be going to certain schools. The amount of money per pupil, there's a graph in here, and I thought that was kind of interesting. That's going to suburban, trying to think suburban schools and, but some districts will spend, like $500 per pupil, and other districts get like $2,500 to spend per pupil. And there wasn't really good delineation as far as who's getting what and why. Though there's such a discrepancy in the amount of money.
That's why we've been fighting for that foundation.
Budget, right, and that was another issue on here, is the foundation aid formula. So there were a lot of things that were discussed and brought out. I don't know, what's gonna happen in the next couple of weeks with the approval of the budget. It's important to know who your legislators are and to keep on them about certain issues, to let them know if you're in fact in support or not support of those initiatives. And I apologize for not, I didn't want to.
That's okay.
Do this, but. Okay.
Good, thank you. Okay, has anybody got any other additional items to discuss?
I've got a couple, just to make the board aware that, I'm hoping that we can do a second, retreat on August 23rd. Time to be determined in the evening, probably with, our consultant, Grant Chandler. Because we have this week.
We'll
So,
be here in person.
yes. August, 23rd is the Wednesday. So it's a week of the 21st to the 25th.
So what I did notice when I went to the survey results is, I'm not saying people didn't pay attention. What I'm saying is that someone on a Zoom call in an auditorium type setting wasn't really, in my opinion, wasn't really, conducive to any kind of work getting done.
Right.
Just saying, I mean,
It's one of the
I would like to make
challenges.
sure that he's at least here. I can't be here all the time, I get that, but he needs to be here sometimes.
That was part of our meeting today, discussing, there is certain associated costs with that,
I understand.
and we are trying to spread it out appropriately, but it is certainly a concern that we are talking about. One of the other interesting things, the board approved that employees could bring their children to the pre-K in our district. And that was before they decided to give us more money. And the board has always supported pre-K and the lottery that we have had. And so now another little idea was to support young families that are employed here. But there came with a caveat with this new money, which we did not know about. We're at about $330,000 total, and it used to be about $97,000. That it cannot have a out-of-district child in it. So we may be in a position where we have to make a decision where do we use general funds then for that classroom, or do we ask that child of the employee to not come and then fund it with the rest of this money from the state? So just something to think about for now. You don't have to make any decisions, but I wanted to put that out there. Sybil, do you have any comments about that you'd like to make?
No, it was completely unforeseen when we were discussing it last year. We were still funded at the $97,200 level, which didn't even fund one class. And the whole purpose of the additional UPK funding was for school districts to increase the availability of UPK at their district. We've already done that fully at 3, sometimes 4 sections. So state planning was even pretty surprised that we got that kind of funding, because we cannot use it all, because if we have any non-resident students in a classroom of UPK, then we would not be eligible to fund that class with that grant fund.
So we have the potential to have 2 employees' children. So we're looking to see, what that could mean.
Well, that's kind of, it's tough because, I mean, we can't find staff now and you tell them we can't.
Well, I think we've got, staff wise, I think we're okay, but, I think that now no good deed goes unpunished, and you put this money out here, and now the state is catching up by doing the right thing, but then putting caveats on it that it can only be used in, a certain way. So not that it's a lot of money, but I thought it was important that I share that information.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the last budget workshop with tonight? Or do we have another one?
There will be other ones, yeah, right up until
At least one more.
April 5th.
Well, because years ago, when we were gonna do the feature fields and stuff, I remember the board president at the time said about being transparent and open to the public, right? And everybody seems to be, I'm the elephant in the room, okay? Everybody seems to be tight-lipped about these buses, right? Are we gonna be transparent to the public? And is it gonna be a separate line on the vote, EV buses? Not goulashed in with the other stuff, we need transparency. Get the buses and the other cars and the EV buses, we should have on the budget one item. And then also, we should have a backup, like we had the backup plan for when we did the drainage. If for some reason, who knows why, voters vote down the EV buses, we should have diesel buses down here too. Because we need more diesel buses, we don't get the list. Okay, I'm the only one that's speaking up about this.
But Joe.
Oh, hold on, Ronnie, hold on.
Okay.
I've continued, had my little rant last week. Or the last meeting, whatever. I continue asking people and reaching out to the public. And I don't ask people, you don't want buses, do you? No, I just sent somebody a message early this morning. What's your opinion on the electric buses? I didn't go either way. This person, I never ever sent him a message. It's silly. That was his response to me. I'm still 100% of the people in the district I speak to, prominent ones, retired electricians, we're not ready for it. It's not gonna work. Okay? So what am I supposed to do when I'm elected by the people? And 100% of the people I speak to tell me the EV buses aren't gonna work. I'm asking my fellow board members, what should I do? Oh, it's money for nothing? No.
We're being
We're
mandated.
getting bullied into, you'll never get a grant again. Really? That's right.
We're being mandated.
No, the mandate is when? When?
2027 have to.
No. 35 all electric. You can't buy a
35
diesel after 27.
35 is all car manufacturers will be selling electric vehicles only. That's.
We need that, I need to see, we need to know for sure.
Okay. that's fair.
Because, again, you tell me to do research.
No, that's fair.
No, hold on, so
I'm gonna get through
2027, no more diesels, right? How come International just put a thing out that they have a beautiful diesel, eco-friendly engine for the trucks that don't need beef anymore? Why are they wasting money if they ain't gonna need it in 3 years and they're gonna throw them in the garbage? International and John Deere both have these eco-friendly, which by the way, I'm involved with mechanics, okay, so I get these kind of things. Why would these major truck companies, which electric buses teamed with, why would they keep researching and making better diesel engines if they're not gonna be around in 2028? So that's the question I wanna answer. Why are we, 2027, there's not gonna be an internal combustion engine anywhere? Is that what you're saying?
For being mandated to have an electric fleet by 2027. I will
That's exactly what it is. We have to have all electric by 2027.
I will check.
Then how are kids going to Philadelphia? They hiking?
I will check those dates for you, but.
It's not 2027. You're wrong.
Me and Terry went to a law conference with Zoom, and that's what the dates that they gave us. I'm the same one that they gave us, Joe.
Does any other board members have anything to say? I'm the only one that talks about the negative, not a negative, the side of the EVIC.
So there is gonna be a conference on this Sunday
Well, let's say.
at Columbia Green Community College from 2 to 4:30 that discusses the new law and regulations, not only for electric buses, electric vehicles, the control that, you know, you're not gonna be able to have gas anymore. This was all part of that bill that was kind of passed and slipped by the public. So please come to Columbia Green College on Sunday from 2, well, it starts at 2, so be there by 2.
Joe, I need you to understand, I'm not completely in favor of this because there's too many questions for me. But when we're being mandated, I don't want to make taxpayers pay for these buses.
Hold on 1 second. Are you sure it's gonna be a great thing and we're not gonna cost us any extra money?
I'm not.
Well, then we say no. Unless you could say definitely we're gonna come out smelling like roses, why are we gonna do it?
No, me either.
Well, the other,
I agree with.
It's gotta be listed separate, or transparency. Smoke and mirrors, it's very smoky right now. And then, when the people don't want the buses, then they'll have to deal with,
They'll have to pay.
no, can't bring your kids to school, okay?
anything.
And we have the money, again, we're being forced, then what about the schools that don't?
As long as
have
they're
the
okay with it, that's fine. You're right. As long as they vote that way and they understand that by voting it down,
Is it
that they will
going to be
be
a separate line
that
item?
they will be paying for it. As long as they're okay with that, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm in agreement with that.
I'm not so sure I'm in
What-
agreement with that. I mean,
No, hold on, I got one last thing to say. We had a mandate many years ago. Anybody knows what it was? Before our time, do you know what it was? It was called prohibition. What happened to that in 5 years? It's the same thing. The law said you can't have alcohol, you're never gonna have alcohol again, and 5 years later, you had the alcohol.
I'll drink to that.
All right, Ron, go ahead.
Listen, I don't know what electric bus in Wisconsin is like. Yeah, I don't. That's God's honest truth. I don't know nothing. I turn the key, I drive my car, that's all I know. But here's what I do know. We have EPA gonna give us $3.75 million. Now, you can tell me the buses aren't gonna be good. Joe, I believe. I had no idea. All I know is it's either, you know, and I get it. When you pay taxes, they say, oh, it's free money. It's not free money. Somewhere along the lines, it's coming out of somebody's pocket, whether it's federal, or state, or local. Reality is though, is that $3.75 million, we're not gonna
It's
have.
not coming out of our taxpayers.
You're gonna get out of local taxpayers because of that mandate. That's all there is to it. That's all that matters. 3.75 million or no 3.75 million. That's it. Whether the buses run, I have no idea.
Can I just ask though, there's a lot of things that we have to do to get the rebate money. It's a whole big packet. I don't know if anybody read it. But I just want to remind everybody about the faucets that during COVID, we bought all these faucets that we were supposed to get reimbursed for, and what happened? We didn't get reimbursed. Am I
No, we
correct?
weren't supposed to get reimbursed. He told us flat out. He told us flat out before that. He said, you're not getting money for it. Flat out told us that.
Well, I understood.
We knew
ahead of
that
time we
before.
were. I was announcing we were.
No. I remember Nick bringing it to us. He said it was mandated, but we have to pay for it.
And after the fact, and we
No.
talked about responsibility, then were we told we weren't getting paid for faucet? We knew we were putting an expense on the taxpayers that they didn't approve of? Did we put an expense on the taxpayers that they didn't approve of?
We knew that.
But Joe, you talk about responsibility. We have a fiduciary responsibility for our community. And that's what you're telling me that I'm gonna chuck out 3.75 million. I'm not doing my fiduciary responsibility. Now, whether people like it or not, I'm sorry. I'm just doing what's best for the community at home. Whether that happens to be electric buses, buses that run on air, water, I don't care. But 3.75 million is the reason why I'm saying we have to get that money and we have to get those buses. That's it.
I don't disagree with anything you just said, but the public has to vote on it. We can't
Oh,
say-
I didn't know that. Hey, we don't want the bill ourselves, that's fine. But you can't say that, oh, we don't want the budget because, oh, well, we're not gonna lose money, we're gonna lose $3.75 million. That's all there is to it. And the public needs to know that too.
Shouldn't be voting on anything to get the ball rolling. It should be put out early then to the community because we need to have it at a certain date.
Well, the little apply for an extension that I think brought us to September, is that?
August.
Yeah, so that will be after the vote, so, but that's what I'm saying, like, New York State sets up all of these things. And, you know, we have to order by April, well, our taxpayers don't even vote until May, so it's just been this whole. And it's New York State, trust me, I'm no favor of New York State by any stretch of imagination, but I'm with Ron, it's like. What are you supposed to do? Like, are you supposed to tell the taxpayers, so now you're gonna pay for it? Like, and if you guys are okay.
Well, I'm okay knowing that an electric bus isn't gonna stop on an icy day on Center Hill with 50 kids on it and the bus don't move. Then we have to offload and load 50 kids on Center Hill on an icy day. And that $3.7 million is not worth nobody's life. And I would rather take that chance of seeing what happens in the future and buy buses that can go twice as far in 5 years. They can't handle the cold weather. It's documented. It's documented. They can't handle the cold weather. They won't go as far because it's cold out. So when they tell you 130 miles,
Down on what the case is. As for electric, it breaks down. We're gonna presume the worst situation is gonna happen because you don't like electric buses? We can't assume that. I don't know anything about electric buses.
I'm not assuming, I know.
Well, but you don't let that happen here. But give me some stats that say electric buses have failed this point. I wanna see that. You got that stat, then we can talk. But unless we have
Well,
that.
how come
it
I
means
was
nothing.
invited to go to Bethlehem to look at the electric buses when one was towed in and the other one was broken?
So
We
one
should
was broken and one was
talk to
too
Chris
big.
Stalker about how many electric buses he's towing. He loves them because he's towing them all the time. Big money, big money. It's not a $300 tow, it's thousands of dollars to tow something that's overloaded. And electric buses are overloaded. Well, I'm good. Well, it's a separate item on the budget.
All right, so now we have, can I motion to go executive session? Kevin, second, Molly, all in favor? Thank you, everyone. Yeah, go ahead.